Hey everyone, I dragged Lou Levi into a chat so I could talk to him about Bernie Sanders' 2020 presidential run. How you doing, Louis?
I'm fine.
So, what do you think of Bernie's announcement?
I don't really think much about it because I think that he doesn't have a chance in hell. But if I was a Republican, I would be egging him on
Really, why is that?
because he's not going to help the Democratic Party. I can tell you that.
Well, go on, tell me why.
Because right now what the Democratic Party needs is cohesion, but as of now, that's the one thing they have no chance at having in the next election.
Yeah, it's amazing how fragmented they are at the moment, isn't it? Um,
Oh yeah, and it seems I thought honestly that the 2016 election was going to be the pinnacle between the split of like the progressives with Bernie and the Clintonites with obviously with Clinton.
hmm,
But goddamn, dude, this time around it is going to effectively be what the Republican primaries were back in
yeah.
2016. But I people made a big deal about Trump in the primaries with the Republicans, that being him bullying everyone and
hmm
making fun of people on stage.
Which he
With
did.
the yeah, he did, and deservedly so because I hated all the other people that
yeah.
ran. The only exception would be Rand Paul. Rand
yeah,
Paul, I
yeah,
don't hate.
yeah, same.
Um, there's a lot of conservatives that actually have a decent amount of respect for him, and I do as well as somebody that doesn't identify as on the right necessarily. But with the Democrats this time around, man, it's going to be something out of a movie in which it's like a bloodbath. Like this is going to be a fucking Tarantino film
That's a
because
great way of
they
describing it.
they're
There's going
going
to be
to
knives in the
massacre.
back, man.
Well, because the thing is that you have a bunch of progressives and you have a bunch of Clintonites running,
Yeah.
and they're all ambitious. It seems like even Tulsi Gabbard, I gotta say, Tulsi Gabbard's throwing her head in too early, man, and I
yeah.
have to imagine that ambition is getting the better of her.
Could
Um,
could well be. Unfortunately, our island babe is going to get knocked out. I'm afraid very
yeah,
quickly, in
she
my
is,
opinion.
and
Um,
I think that both the progressives and the Clintonites have their eyes on her, and they both hate her.
yeah.
So I
To be
think
honest with you,
go ahead.
yeah. Sorry. To be honest with you, I think that what she should do is recognize the radical leftist takeover of the Democratic Party and become like a left-leaning Republican, like Donald Trump, frankly.
I mean, it would honestly, it would put some new life into the Republican Party, and I do think that she would drag some votes with her.
Mm,
I imagine that she would appeal to certain independents, but unfortunately, with the Democratic Party, like I don't. The thing is that she holds certain beliefs that I don't think would ever be accepted by the Republican Party. That involving healthcare and that sort of thing. I think that she has some issues that, for her, in the American context politically, are kind of dead enders. Um,
maybe,
if she were to switch,
anyway, we're kind of getting off the topic.
I guess
Anyway,
so. I guess we're here to talk about
yeah.
Bernie.
Sorry, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so getting back to the Bernie thing, this has clearly been coming for a while because I mean, not only did they announce that Bernie had recorded his campaign video, which was a big leak. Bernie Sanders also got Me Too'd.
Yeah,
This is back a couple of weeks ago now. It wasn't Bernie Sanders, obviously. It was people working in his campaign, and somehow this is now his fault, as if these people don't bear responsibility for their own actions. And yeah, Bernie was forced to apologise. So you can see that he's already in the crosshairs of the sort of democratic machine. You know,
yeah. They're going to come after him a lot harder this time,
yeah.
I think. Unless this is 4D chess on his part and he's looking for a payoff. Honestly,
Well, I mean,
I don't know what to say. I did not expect him to run again, and the fact that he is, to me, is honestly suspicious. I find it suspicious because I can't imagine he thinks he's going to win.
I think he probably does think he's going to win. I think that he's an idealist. I mean, and the thing is, I mean, maybe he's going in for a payoff. He's 77 years old, something like that now.
Yeah,
I mean, he's going to be nearly 80 by the time, if he wins, he'll be nearly 80. And then to get his second run done, he'll finish, what, 86, something like that?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that is wild. Like, old man Bernie in the
A-
presidency. And
ambition knows no age.
well, I've noticed that like all of the Bernie Bro progressives call him daddy. It's so cringe. It was cringe when
Really?
Milo was doing it to Trump. Oh yeah, they're all doing it. They're all calling him daddy, and it's like,
Weird.
dude, it's so fucking weird. Like, these videos
Well,
like, vote for Daddy Bernie.
with Milo, it's funny because it comes off as like
ironic,
with a certain. It's ironic, but it comes off with like a certain sexual connotation.
Yes, exactly.
But the thing is, with Milo, that's like Milo.
It's part of the shtick, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, but with Bernie, man, that's creepy as fuck.
Dude, Kyle Kalinske was doing it.
Oh my God.
Dude, I was just like, dude, what are you doing?
Oh my God, Kyle.
Trump is not daddy, he's the God Emperor. So yeah, basically it's all kind of weird. But
I don't know. Bernie Sanders might be Pops. He might be.
See, that would be fine.
Yeah.
Pops would be fine. And that's actually quite endearing,
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
But yeah, so the Democratic establishment are already going after him. There's obviously articles on like the route to all old white men considering a run for president in 2020.
Yeah, I've seen that popping up.
Naturally, Bernie, and this is an old one as well. This is from like the beginning of last year. And then there's another one from Salon, which was
there's another one that came out one came out yesterday from Politico talking about that.
Yeah. Because it's interesting because this one from Salon includes Biden as well. Now, Biden, no one talks about Biden, but apparently, according to a poll in New Hampshire among Democrats exclusively, Biden had an 80% favorable response rate.
Yeah.
Which makes him more popular than Sanders and Kamala Harris. And Kamala Harris had 62%. And I think she's the one to watch because I think she's corporate enough for the establishment to back her, but also intersectional enough for the progressives to back her as well.
She's been groomed by Clinton for quite a while.
Yes, groomed is definitely the word to use. And I think that she's the one that the machinery will come behind and alignment.
Yes.
And the thing is, the progressive activists, because she will recite their rhetoric in the same way as Bernie Sanders, but without the same conviction.
Yes.
But they won't be able to argue with the fact that she's doing it, and she's a woman of color. So it's just like, okay, well, and the establishment, the sort of corporate Clintonite types will just be back into the hill, and so they'll have no choice but she'll get it, I think, and I think Bernie will lose out to her. But I mean, early days, don't want to make any predictions yet.
I wouldn't either, considering the things that are progressing as they are. I wouldn't make many predictions.
But I think that's one possibility anyway.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is pretty wild as far as I'm concerned, and I mean, the concern that I feel kind of bad for Bernie's supporters, right? Because I was watching Kyle Kalinske's video on it, and he was just literally like it was Saint Bernie, and it was like Bernie was some kind of messiah who was going to lead us to the promised land, and it was his conviction and the fact that he's and I believe it. I believe that Bernie has conviction with socialism. I believe it. At first I didn't. I thought he was just dumb. I've learned a lot more about Bernie, so now I genuinely think Bernie does have like a religious commitment to socialism. And that's what this sort of like the lefty types are pursuing. It just seems crazy, and I don't think he's going to win because I think the establishment of the Democrats will destroy him. Am I wrong?
Like I said, if he won't take a payoff, he'll be wrecked this time. I really think that they're really fearful that they're going to run into the same problems that they did in 2016. I have to imagine that internally they blame him a lot for Clinton's loss. So, I mean, a lot of the Russiagate stuff, a lot of that I think is just smoke and mirrors to cover up for the fact that they fucked up.
Oh, totally.
I have to imagine that the people in the room that aren't total fucking hacks are aware of what actually went wrong to some degree, because every time there's an election that goes wrong, there's always a post-mortem. There's always an analytics of what actually happened, where it happened, where, and with Clinton, the only reason why she did as badly as she did, I mean, I honestly think she could have done it. I thought, up until the end that Trump was going to lose, only until like right at the, when I saw the last polls, that's when I switched my opinion. I was like, Jesus Christ, Trump's going to win this. And it's because with Clinton, she's been around for so long, and this is one of the problems with her and of politicians like her. She's so arrogant that you can't actually confront her with the truth. She doesn't want to hear the truth. She wants to be told what she wants to hear.
It will just never be presented to her.
Yes. And unfortunately, you could do all the postmortem in the world. You could always look at every election and try to figure out how you can win it the next time around. But you have to have somebody that's malleable enough and not a big enough egotist that you can actually give them that information so that they can actually perform better.
Hmm.
And what the Democrats need more than anything is someone that they can actually go to and say, listen, you can't say this, you can't do that, you have to go here. You know, one of the problems with the Democratic Party is that the party infrastructure was so built around Clinton that, like, once she's gone now, it's like now they have to find new people. Now they have to start all over.
That's why Kamala Harris is doing so well, in my opinion, because they're looking for the new sort of nexus point. Because I was watching Andrew Klavan earlier, and I watch sources from every angle. I watch everyone. I watch Carl Kalinske and I watch Andrew Klavan, and Klavan made a really good point about the Democrats, that they've turned into a real sort of cult of personality party.
Yes,
they've really very focused on the good feelings that they get from the candidate. It's not about. I mean, this is why Cortez has done so well. She just makes them feel good. She's effective at trolling the conservatives, the Republicans, whatever. And so, that makes them feel good. And she's very good at towing the party line when it comes to progressive orthodoxy. Very good.
Yes.
And she's a woman of color. Perfect.
Yeah.
She's young and attractive. Even fucking better. She is literally like a gift to the lonely progressive who feels like religiously exiled and like out in the wilderness. She's helping to lead them back into the promised land, and that's what Bernie's about. That's the entire reaction to Bernie, and I think Hillary Clinton did have something like that, which sounds inexplicable until you realize that a certain percent of the population are privileged, white, upper middle class, feminist women, and then you realize. Excuse me. Then you realize
you can abbreviate it down to cunts.
Yeah. Yes. I could. That's exactly the kind of woman I'm talking about, right? Most women not like this, but the sort of women that are
the Clintonite women.
Yeah, they're a minority, and they're really fucking annoying, entitled bitches. And
they're very middle class. I don't mean to make it too classist, but they were very middle class, very bourgeois, very much so.
Yeah, and so these were the that was Clinton's cult of personality, which amazingly she managed to cultivate. But I think
because if you look at her career is a joke.
Oh yeah. But the thing is, so with Bernie. I mean, what's Bernie ever done?
True. The other thing you could point to is with Obama. Obama barely had much of a career at all. I mean, outside of being a professor, I think that's where he got most of his accolades. But in politics, he was a novice up until, bing, bam, boom. He's in the fucking White House.
Well, he was a senator, wasn't he?
For less than one term.
Really? Jesus.
Yeah.
I knew it was short, but I didn't know it was that short.
He was like a nomination, I believe.
Right, okay. So if Bernie somehow manages to weather all of the daggers in his own back to somehow become the Democratic nomination.
He doesn't have the balls.
I agree.
Frank,
I agree. This is my the thing is, right. Bernie wouldn't be so bad if he wasn't such a pussy.
Yeah.
That's honestly how I feel about it.
I realized post-mortem from that election, from that primary the last time around, I realized that was one of his severe problems was he just doesn't have the ruthlessness that's required in order for someone to be effective in politics. Like, you don't have to be an evil person, but you have to be an intelligent enough schemer to actually know when to be strong, know when to be ruthless, know when to, you have to know when you have to basically crack the whip, and whether it's your own staff or activists, which was his weak spot. The activists ran all over him.
When it came to Hillary Clinton, he should have been cracking that fucking whip. He should have been like, you know what? If I'm not going to have it, you're definitely not going to have it after fucking me. He should have made such a goddamn problem for them. But instead,
he could have actually turned the Democratic Party into like a legit civil war where it would have collapsed. He could have done it. He had that power.
Easily. But instead, he's fucking bent the knee and kissed Hillary's ring. And now and then you've got obviously the activists with Black Lives Matter in was it Philadelphia just stealing his platform. Oh, fuck off, Bernie! Grow a spine.
I think that actually didn't, like, a lot of people really lost. It was a few different instances
I
that,
lost a
and
huge amount of respect there.
white people don't know what it's like to be
Oh
poor. Like
yeah, and that was
he
the
had
final
several.
straw. That was the
He
final
had.
straw.
I looked past a few different things, including the things mentioned. The thing that finally, where I said, fuck this guy. I'm done with Bernie. I don't respect him.
Yeah,
Is when he bent the knee to Clinton.
yeah,
And any person that knew what he knew about Clinton, anyone with any kind of actual personal conviction or integrity would have never done that. And it was unnecessary. He
yeah.
could have turned away and said, I'm not endorsing her, but if you want to vote for her, vote for her. And that
Yeah.
he could have just gracefully bowed out, and that would have been it. He followed her like a fucking sycophant for the remainder of the election, kissing her ass, propping her up, telling his own supporters to back her.
Yeah.
It was pathetic. And anyone with any integrity would have never done that, knowing what they knew about her.
And the thing is, we're talking purely about Bernie's character here. Like, when you come
Yes.
to his policies, I don't think they're going to solve any of the root causes of the problems. I think that what Bernie is doing with his socialist agenda is just putting a plaster, or Band-Aid, sorry, on a massive gaping wound. I think that the illegal immigration is one of the reasons why so many of them need a $15 an hour minimum wage. I mean, we've seen this from Brexit. As soon as, literally, within a year of Brexit being announced, it hasn't even happened yet, wages are rising, right? Today, it was announced that unemployment is at its lowest since the 70s. Brexit is already making Britain great again. And it's just supply and demand.
Sorry to hear about that. What is it, a Honda manufacturer in your area? Sorry to hear about that.
It sucks, obviously. And it really does suck for the town I live in fact. Because
it's outside of your control, and it seems to be
but it's
something...
outside of Brexit as well.
Yes, by what you said in your video, it seems to be the long-term planning of the Honda Corporation.
Well, they're pulling out of Europe entirely, so it's like, they weren't exactly moving to France or something. But anyway,
right.
So yeah, I personally don't really think Bernie has much of a chance of winning the nomination, given the forces that will be arrayed against him again. And if so, I don't think he'll beat the God Emperor, because frankly, Trump's doing an amazing job. He's doing a really great job. He's not perfect, obviously, but he's definitely fulfilling his campaign pledges, and I just think he's doing a damn fine job. I mean, everything seems to be going a lot better. What do you reckon?
I have a mixed opinion of him, even from a detached perspective in terms of performance. I think that looking at it the best way that I could, if you take a Kamala Harris or even, let's say, a Bernie Sanders, I would say I would put money, let's say $1,000, if I had to bet, I would put it on Trump without a second thought, because I think that he's a shoo-in to win re-election, and I've seen a lot of analysis on the next election.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, even never Trumpers are saying outright that Trump is a shoo-in to win the next election. In terms of his actual performance, I think that the next time around, unless they're incited to vote, I think that his base is going to be disappointed, and a big thing is going to be about the wall. And with this, him signing the, emergency, I forget what it would be, executive order.
Yeah, but the state of emergency over the wall.
Yeah, it isn't a question of, the question is actually efficacy, whether it's actually going to happen in the next year, and I think the answer is no. And I think that's going to, in fact, depress turnout to him to some degree. And I think that's going to haunt him.
I don't think it's easy to portray this as Trump's fault that the wall hasn't been built.
I would say, obviously, it's a matter of the Republicans, the Democrats in secret going behind him and agreeing that they don't want to build it for obvious reasons of labor and the rest. But he had several chances by which that he could have actually held out and said, it's my way, we're getting the fucking wall, or we're getting nothing. And he could have played hardball with the Republican Party.
He could, but that might have affected his public ratings, which at the moment are doing really well.
They're climbing. So he's winning more independents. He's garnering more votes. But I think in terms of his base, The wall's a big deal to them.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
And I think that more and more you're seeing more griping, more hand-wringing from a slew of different people.
Yeah, I've seen the
that were
Ann
definitely
Coulters, complaining that the war, Trump wasn't being like a hard line on the wall. But like again, it's the same thing I say to the Democrats. Trump's a negotiator. He's going to get the wall piece by piece if he has to, isn't he? I mean, he got them up to $1 billion on the wall. It's like, okay, that's nothing, but he didn't. It's better than what he had before, and he's going to keep going. And I think it'll become a major campaign issue.
No, but he's also floating the idea, and I don't believe that this is his idea. He floated the idea the other day of increasing legal immigration by.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, well that's
not good, but like, that's a concession to the Democrats to get them to give him more for the wall, right? Because once the wall is
not
built,
necessarily.
I think so. I think it's just part of his negotiating strategy.
Maybe it is. It could be, but it was standalone. It didn't come across as that, and I can tell you that
any conversation around immigration in the wall would be
immigration. The problem with the Democrats now is that they can't even touch immigration because they're open borders lunatics.
Oh, absolutely.
If this was Bill Clinton versus George W. Bush, back in the day, the Democrats could frickin' use it as a club to beat him with.
Yeah,
it could be Trump's own version of no new taxes. But the problem is that with the Democrats now is they've handicapped themselves.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Being totally for open borders and for, having their major activists crying for the abolition of ICE is just crazy. Yeah. Like even like, like center left, none of them think that you should abolish the borders of the United States. None of them. That's a lunatic position.
I think that come re-election time, I won't say it just yet. Like I said, I would bet money in many ways on Trump to win the next re-election easily. I'm going to say easily, where I'm sitting right now anyway. But I just think that the immigration issue is going to haunt him. And I think that after his, let's say he serves 2 terms, if the immigration is going to be a touchy subject with him. And I think that after 2 years, and maybe it'll matter then and it doesn't matter now, I think that it's going to come back to haunt the Republicans. I think that it's an issue that they've kicked the can on since the 60s, in fact. They've been kicking the can. And I think that the tolerance of most people that consider it to be their number one issue, and that's tens of millions of Americans, they're running out of time to keep doing that. And I think that that's one of the main reasons why Trump won.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. But the thing is, the Trump is the only candidate who is in favor of a wall, really. Of the options,
sure,
it's Donald Trump or all of the Democrats. And not one of the Democrats will even admit that a wall isn't even immoral. Like, I saw Cortez, like a clip of her going around earlier on Twitter with her going, no,
sure,
I think the wall is immoral, and compared it to the Berlin Wall, and it's like, are you fucking nuts?
No, you got to understand, dude. Like, I was talking to a journalist the other day who I am decent with in terms of our, relationship.
Yeah.
And he's left-leaning. But the thing is that, like, I talked about this in a stream I did the other day, but he doesn't believe in the concept of citizenship.
Okay.
And it's like he's not even right, he doesn't consider himself to be far left.
Really? Wow. He's pretty centrist,
so
really, isn't he?
I just think that unfortunately the way things are currently, it's like, well, it's Trump and then people that think that, like, citizenship, man, it's bullshit, man. We're just people of the world, man. It's like that. Those are the options.
Confederation or something.
Those are the options we have currently.
Well, I agree, and I think that Trump is going to win because at this point, I honestly think that the Democrats have fucking shot themselves in the foot just for the last 2 years, right? So the way it seems to me is that the media is almost like when people say the media, I don't really think they're thinking of the right-wing media. I think they're just thinking of the centrist, center-left media or far-left media.
It's pretty much
progressive.
The fourth and fifth estate, with some exceptions.
Yeah.
Like a few different exceptions.
Like Fox News aren't really. I mean, Fox News are basically parroting YouTube talking points at this point, which I think is wonderful.
Practically, it's crazy. I've seen some segments from Fox, and it's like, goddamn, like you're just taking this off of channels from YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. You must be watching our stuff, which is A,
Yeah.
fantastic, and B, like really flattering, I guess. Yeah, this is the thing. Like it's like there's the way that the Democrats have operated for the last 2 years has been disgraceful. Absolutely fucking disgraceful. Like the Kavanaugh thing, the Covington thing, this
absolutely.
Jussie thing, and it's Kamala Harris. It's all the big ones. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Sure.
It's an established Democratic sort of, as a bastion, as a faction. They have just been
Like
terrible
I
ways.
said it the other day. It's part ideological, like with people like Bernie and maybe Cortez, but with Kamala Harris, man, that is it's cynical.
Calculated.
We control 96% of the black female vote.
Yeah.
96% of the Democratic vote is of the way that black women vote is Democrat. 96% of black women vote Democrat, and they are desperately trying to continue holding on to those numbers because in every other demographic they're fucking losing.
Yeah.
They're losing demographics. They're bleeding it.
Obviously,
Bleeding
don't be a
votes.
white man in the Democratic Party. But this is the thing, and I think that the way that they've been acting has been noticed. I don't think people are unaware that the Democratic Party seems to be going into some kind, not just the Democratic Party, but the left wing as a political movement is going into kind of a weird tailspin of purity spiraling and insanity, like absolute insanity. And I think Twitter's caused it. I think
I do think I think that as well too. It's unbelievable to me that out of all the social media networks, like people rant and rave about all of them being bad for humanity and society and the rest. But I think that honestly, Twitter, it's destroying the left because it's making them all fucking rabid virtue signalers that don't give a good goddamn about anything other than their own fucking like
projecting their own values onto the internet. Which just
I guess so.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Which is it's fucking worthless because they didn't cost them anything to adopt those values. Well, it doesn't cost them anything to project them onto the internet, so it doesn't do anything.
They don't understand that like Twitter is smaller than most of the other social media outlets.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing compared to even outlets like fucking YouTube.
Oh yeah,
it's nothing, and they don't seem to understand that like the only people that are on Twitter that matter are journalists, and they're like forwarding these ideas that get favorites and retweets from people that are already on board, but to the rest of the country or to the rest of the world even, it's that they're not there, they're not listening, they're not present. And I think honestly, if you look at if the Democrats nominate somebody who's weak, who is just a virtue signaler, and they go up against Trump, and let's say some miracle happens with Trump, and he gets the wall, and he reassures his base, and he's already won over a certain percentage of independents, I swear to God, I bet money on it. It'll be a landslide victory for Trump.
Well, hang on. So,
landslide victory.
Don't get me wrong. I think that it would, but I think that I think the wall issue isn't going to hurt Trump as much as you think. So I think that
I think it's about turnout. That's what I'm basing it on.
Yeah, but
turnout.
even then, I don't think it's going to hurt them as much as you're making out. In my opinion, don't get me wrong. Obviously any one of us could be wrong because he's just
anything could.
But let me explain why.
Go ahead.
I mean, frankly, I don't think that his base has got anywhere else to go. I think Trump is the only guy who will do any of the things that they want. That are, I think, the root causes of the problems that we're having. That's what Trump is trying to tackle, like illegal immigration, all this sort of stuff. And
you can only talk so much.
Well, no. The thing is, Trump has obviously tried to get his wall, right? I don't think anyone would say Trump's not trying to get the wall. He's obviously being stopped. I mean, he's being sued over it.
Sure.
So
that's now. This is with his Hail Mary pass. That's where he's at now.
Exactly. He's at the point of throwing a Hail Mary pass. He's like, yeah, look, we're going to just try. We're just going to go for it. Fuck it. Who knows? Right. But you can't say that Trump isn't trying to get the wall. He's obviously trying to get the wall. He's just not the king of America. And so he's bound within a system that has checks and balances. So he can't just make it happen. So I don't think you could lay not having a wall at Trump's feet, because Trump obviously wants the fucking wall. He's obviously trying to get the fucking wall.
I'm just saying that
way.
when he got into office, there was certain legislation. There's still been legislation that has passed that no one has questioned, um, including the tax cuts that were right out of the gates.
Sure.
That happened, and so did many other things that were passed. And the thing is that, like I said, that I'm not I'm not even that big on the issue of the wall. I'm just saying that I know from the position of people that are Trump fans that this is stuck in their craw and they are not happy with this.
I know.
And you can, like I said, you can, and that's the big thing with even what's her face, Ann Coulter, that you can only talk so much. And with the Hail Mary pass,
he hasn't just been talking. He's been, he's shut the government down for the record amount of time. He's now getting sued because of this Hail Mary pass. It's like, he's not just talking. And I'm talking to the sort of Trump base, I guess, when I'm saying this. Because it's like, I know, I think that the fixation on the wall has become very much like very much like the Bernie supporters with universal healthcare or whatever, abolish ICE, whatever. It's one of those, like, it has to be all or nothing. And it's like, okay, that's the best case scenario, all or nothing, right? But now Trump has to work within a system where he isn't the king. He doesn't just get to make absolute decisions. And he has to try and convince the Democrats to go along with it. And so he's going to have to make compromises. You're going to have to be reasonable in this situation.
I don't buy the line of like, well, he has to convince the Democrats now. It's like, yeah, because the Republicans fucked up the last election.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying
they still managed to give Israel $38 billion. They still managed that.
Yeah, they did. Of course, they fucking did. But the point is that Trump's fault or is that the Republicans' fault?
Well, it's both.
Oh, come on. Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe, but like.
He still has to sign off on all the legislation.
Okay, sure, but either way, you can't. I don't think you can fault Trump's effort in trying to get the wall. You might say they fucked it up or whatever, but I think that he's been putting the effort in. But anyway,
well, like I said, not to get off track, but just to say again that it's just the issue of, like I said, of that, but also coinciding with the idea of it wasn't too long ago that people started calling him Amnesty Don. That was becoming a nickname for a while until people were like, okay, whether this is going to happen or not. Yeah. But the
well, they're the hardliners doing that, aren't
they? The question is though that whether he's I do think he's trying. I think that's clear. But the question is whether he's actually who he's listening to and what he's actually doing, and also the issue of the idea of increasing the immigration numbers. That's crazy. That's insane. It's already $1 million odd a year. Goddamn, how much more?
I agree, but it's also something that can be easily rescinded after the wall has been built.
I mean, I'm sure that's what they said 60 years ago.
Well, I'm just saying, if I was looking at your governmental system like a game of chess, I would be looking at thinking, right, what is a disposable piece that I can use to barter to a better position in order to take their king? And if taking a king is building the wall, then yeah, I'd be willing to make small concessions that didn't prevent me from building the wall to get to the wall, and then after that, it's a different mission. Excuse me.
Well, I just think that there's definite ways that he could play hardball to get what he wants. And it's the LBJ style of politics where the thing is that it's pretty clear to me that the opposite side do not fear him. It's very clear they don't fear him.
Before we go off, because I agree with you. There are obviously more things that he can do to play hardball, but he has to still remember that he's got another election to fight. And he doesn't.
And right now, he has all the balls in his pits. He's holding all of the cards. The only one he's missing is the fucking wall. Like I said, if you look at the statistics that are coming out, if you look at the people that exist now, he's a shoo-in to win re-election.
Yeah,
and like I said, if they nominate somebody weak, and he can retain what he has currently, it's going to be a fucking landslide.
I hope so. But the point is, I think it's not as bad as you think, because going into 2020, Trump can just literally go around giving like speeches like his State of the Union address, which was a huge win,
Sure.
a fucking huge
Yes.
win, and it was such a great list of accomplishments. And man, the fact checking afterwards was the most unnecessary, pedantic bullshit I've ever seen. Trump claimed he created 5.3 million jobs. Actually, it was only 4.9 million, which just happened to be twice as many as we expected. You know, it's like, it's just, it was laughable. Trump can do that and then just finish it by saying, build the wall, you know, and that's it. He brings the house down, landslide 2020. That's what I would say.
I just think that, well, I'll just leave it alone.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, though, Tulsi's going to lose. So.
Yeah, she is. Like I said, she should run next time, not this time.
Yeah, I agree.
And I said the same thing, even though I don't like her. Kirsten Gillibrand. She's going to get rounded out.
Yeah.
She's going to be done. And she really like put her head in way too early. She should have run next time around, and she would have had. Well, the problem is though, I say that, right? I say that. Oh no, wait till next time. The way the Democratic Party is going, man, it's like, well, you're a white woman, you can't run. It's like, well, fuck. Because right now we have articles from The Hill, from Politico, the Beltway Media, the Fifth Estate. All of them are saying it's like, yeah, can a white man run in today's fucking Democratic Party? It's like.
That's a good question.
You know why? Because they've been bleeding votes for fucking 20 years.
Yeah, but that's a damn good question. Can they? Can a white man do it? You know, they've become so ideologically possessed that I honestly think that the question is valid.
Yeah, it is.
Bernie's gonna answer it for us.
Well, the thing was with Bernie is how long and I mean this. It sounds like a joke, but I mean this. How long is it going to be until, well, can a Jew run in the Democratic Party? And I'm not joking.
Well, they did disassociate from the Women's March.
Everyone, including that fucking bitch that just ran and won, that Muslim woman in the White House, in Congress.
Omar or something.
Yo, she's an acolyte of Farrakhan.
Yeah,
she's another one.
She's awful.
I couldn't believe it. Dude. I'm like, yo, how many of these fucking assholes are acolytes of the Nation of Islam?
Mate,
it's unreal.
And the progressives are falling over themselves to get them elected to stuff, and it's just like, wow, these are awful people.
You legit don't understand. Like you're nominating people. You're nominating people that from a group that assassinated Malcolm X because he wasn't radical enough.
Okay, so I'm gonna give one final prediction before I stop recording. So Louis, thanks for joining me, man. But basically, right,
for the many and not the Jew.
It's gonna be a massive town hall, and it'll be Bernie up the front giving his speech, and then it'll be Omar or whatever her name is just heckling him by calling him a termite.